for the Built for Tough studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Thursday morning. Great. Should be a great NFL Thursday night game with the Bengals and Ravens tonight to kick off this week. Of course, we are hoping for a Jets win to get them back into the conversation in the AFC, and we'll see what the hell happens in Germany with the Giants. Disappointing Knicks loss last night as they're off to a very sloppy, and I'm not about to say troubling start yet because it's a long regular season, but that was an annoying, really, really annoying loss last night to the Atlanta Hawks, and of course, Trae Young is trash-talking afterwards. And just buckle up. We said it. We called it. The baseball offseason is insufferable, and you're already getting a taste as now reports, because there's nothing going on yet, and the baseball writers have pressure on to put stuff out there, reports that the Tampa Bay Rays are involved in Juan Soto. And then you get Scott Boras doing his stupid little comedy routine with Pete Alonso. In a bear market, it's the polar opposite. This is the worst. It's the worst. Somehow, put me in a time machine to get me to the day that Juan Soto signs, because it's going to be hell until then. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jim. Doing well. Yeah, I was watching the game last night. It was, the only thing on the watch. I mean, I couldn't watch any more of the political stuff. I just wanted to stick toothpicks in my eyes. But I will say about the Knicks, I want to see 20 games. I want to see them all understand who's supposed to do what, play together. And I hate the fact that Trae Young is like a public enemy number one right now in the Knicks fans' eye, because he's trolling us like he did 3 years ago. But he was amazing last night, and Knicks fell apart again in the fourth quarter. I just, to me, it's about just getting used to playing with each other. They played those two games. The Miami game was unbelievable. They look great in that game. Yeah. I take a look at their schedule now. You know how I like to look at schedules.
You do like to look at schedules.
Big schedule looker guy.
It's a little bit, I will say it's a little bit hypocritical, because you're a one-game, one-quarter guy, and then you look ahead with the schedule.
Yeah, but that is when we're in the playoffs, the teams are in the playoffs, whatever it may be.
Okay.
And you got to have a singular focus on what is going on in that particular game. And sure, the players and the coaches have to have game plans for each and every game. Yes, that is it. But like Aaron Rodgers said, you got to see the forest through the trees. You got to have a big picture outlook on things. And I look at the schedule here, and I look at these next, say, 10 games. They got a lot of games on there that they can win. There'll be some games in there that will be tough to deal with. I think Embiid's going to be back for the 76ers when they play the Knicks. So here we go. We're going to find out about, who the Knicks really are. I mean, it's going to take a while. I'm going to give them until December 1st.
Before you start freaking out?
Before I start really making a true determination as to, does the Karl-Anthony Towns thing work? Are they really missing DiVincenzo and Julius Randle? I mean, right now it's up and down. Jaylen Brunson's not happy with the way he's playing. Mikal Bridges comes and goes. I mean, so there's got to be a lot more consistency with this team, and I got to wait until I see 20 games, a quarter of the season, and then I can make a determination. And hopefully by that time, Precious Achiuwa is back.
Yes, to save the day.
Yes.
Usually it's around Christmas that I think most people are taking stock with the NBA season. And, of course, there's always a big schedule on Christmas with the NBA that the NFL is now stealing away from them and getting better ratings. But I guess right now when you're watching these games, neither one of us are freaking out, but I think the question is, are these real problems that could fester? So what has ailed them so far? One, I think it's depth. I feel like we talk so much about Tom Thibodeau, grinding his starters out.
He's only playing 8 guys a game pretty much.
Even more so now, I feel like their depth is an issue, and Deuce McBride, who is someone you count on to come in and hit threes and be offense off the bench, has not been able to do that most of the season. So is that something that's going to continue? I think also just Jaylen Brunson was the focal point, no matter who else was on the court. When Julius Randle came back healthy, it was still Jaylen Brunson. When OG Anunoby came, it was still Jaylen Brunson. And now for the first time seeing, because Karl-Anthony Towns is there and he's a big superstar and he's a giant man and he's 33 and 18 and everything else, that Jaylen Brunson is like, am I still supposed to be the man?
Yeah,
and
he will. He's just trying to figure it all out, man. That's all.
So that could be a bit of an issue, and the rebounding kind of sucks right now, which is really, really frustrating.
Well, it should be better with the guys that they have out there. But I think the reason he's playing these guys a lot more than I think maybe normally, number one, obviously there are a couple injuries, and Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa being two of those injuries. But I also think he wants them to get used to playing with each other, and I think that's a real thing right now. You literally have two new guys starting in the starting five, and essentially you have five guys that have barely played together, as a unit. So I'm not so sure that things aren't going to change around Christmas time, and maybe there'll be different guys coming off the bench by the time we get there. But I just think that this is a very talented group of guys that we're all trying to figure out how we're going to fit in and who's the team, who's running the team, who's the faces. And we all know it's Jaylen Brunson. And I think Karl-Anthony Towns also knows that and is trying to be respectful as well. So I am not totally – I would say I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not overly alarmed. How's that sound?
No, of course, and you shouldn't be. And I mean, anybody that is someone who's probably just freaks out over everything in the world. But also another thing I want to add to is this a real problem or not is Mikal Bridges and his shot. Like,
he's had a couple good games.
I know, but it's been inconsistent and it's weird and like changing his shooting motion and just like I mean, that's a little bit of an odd one to me. Like, in going and getting him, that was such a big deal prior to the Towns trade, and getting a guy in his prime and what he was doing in Brooklyn and putting him with his old buddies, and he was going to be a superstar. And so far, it's just been super inconsistent. So it happened so quick. The Karl-Anthony Towns trade happened late into the offseason. It was basically like he showed up and there was media day and then there's preseason the next day. So definitely give him some time, but you would want, just like everybody would, the Cleveland Cavaliers start, not the Knicks start right now.
That's right. Well, yeah, and when you take a look at their schedule now over it, and I know CBS Sports Network put it up for people to see, but here on the schedule now comes a lot of Eastern Conference games. You got Milwaukee, Indiana, Philadelphia, Chicago, Brooklyn twice, and Washington. So, I mean, those are games where you're going to find out exactly who you are. When you go to Indiana and you blasted them in your home opener a couple weeks back, and now you got to go there. You'll find out who you are. I mean, the Nets are I don't know. But how do you want to describe what they're doing? Spunky?
You know what? The Nets
I
are
give
either
them credit.
The Nets over the last number of years are either like spunky or pure disaster. Like prior to the whole Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving thing with Kenny Atkinson, they were like just spunky and fun. Like, a little spunk fun team.
Spunk fun.
A little spunky fun team.
Yeah.
And then, of course, these guys come over. It's a total mess, and it's a joke and everything else. And now they're back to being young and fun with low expectations and nothing to lose.
I'll tell you, though, those two games are back-to-back, by the way, against the Nets, the 15th and 17th of November. They better win those games.
Both of them.
Those are games that they have to dominate, and they have to play defense, and they have to rebound. And they got to turn into the tough Knicks. They got to be. I want to see the team that we saw last year when OG got here and all of a sudden was playing defense, was scoring key buckets at the right time, and I mean, I'm playing tough. Now this goes back to this whole thing about Karl-Anthony Towns.
Yeah, and Pat Beverly and some of the things that have been said about him. And Cat bogus, man. He bogus. And him being soft and some of these other things. And plus, you lost two guys that there is no doubt about it that are just really, really hard to replace their toughness and their personality and their grit on the court. And Dante DiVincenzo is one, and Isaiah Hartenstein was the other. And like it's hard to find guys like that. Now, the NBA is a star-driven league. You got to win championship with stars, and they took a big shot with Karl-Anthony Towns. But there was grit that went out the door. There's no two, and even Julius Randle went out the door. That's grit. Now,
that's three gritty players. Yeah, I can see that. And you got to have grit, man.
Got to have grit.
That's why I love this show. I love this show because I feel like we're gritty. I feel like we have five gritty guys, especially Jerry. Like, Jerry's the grittiest of you guys.
You really think he's the grittiest?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, if I had to rank the grittiest on this show, he would be first. I would be second.
Wow, okay.
And the only reason I'm not higher than he is because now he has overtaken me with the amount of jobs that he has.
That is true.
Right, so I have basically 2 jobs, I think. Maybe just one, really. No, I got 2.
Well, so game time being the other?
Yeah, I guess so. You could, it's a part-timer, but it is 45 episodes. What?
But that's part of this job, right?
What is that?
Kickoff
is part of this. That's part of this job. That's radio.
Same company, same paycheck.
Yeah,
one of those things.
I mean, I still do run the foundation, so that's another part of it. That's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, like, in terms of grittiness and getting on the road and coming back here and being a part of this group, it's got to be Jerry. It's got to be.
Yeah. Yes, and he's doing things that are very unhealthy. Not sleeping.
Wouldn't you describe Jerry? The perfect word to describe Jerry, and every team needs one of these guys, is a grinder.
Yeah, he's definitely a grinder.
He's a grinder now.
There's no 2 ways about it. He's grinding when we're off in the summer. He's here grinding. We're not grinding.
That guy grinds every day of his life.
And then in the fall, he's grinding. And then in the winter, he continues to grind.
He's doing a basketball game tonight. He's got a football game this week.
We had a basketball game last night, didn't we?
Oh, it was the last night? Oh,
yeah.
It was last night. Okay.
Yeah.
So he did one last night.
Mm-hmm.
He's here today.
Yeah.
He's got football this week. He's got Tampa Bay and San Francisco.
Right.
He's going to be back here.
And then I believe a game Monday night. So Sunday football, Monday show, Monday night basketball.
That's a grinder. And that's grittiness. And that's what you need. And that's going back to the Knicks. I don't necessarily know that Karl-Anthony Towns right now has really sharpened his elbows.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people believe that those elbows can be sharpened. And
we got to sharpen those elbows up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we always
start throwing that big body around.
I said it back when the trade was made, and the Knicks culture and the grit that we're talking about and all these things that made the Knicks a team that we loved last year, that Karl-Anthony Towns was going to have to assimilate to that, and to use a phrase from one of our favorite places in New Jersey, you either fit in or F off.
That's exactly right.
And it hasn't quite happened yet.
Fiofo.
It hasn't quite happened yet. But yeah, I was listen, we were all part of us, even if you loved the trade, was worried about that. The fact that is Karl-Anthony Towns is he the guy that puts this team that got as far as they did and had us believe that they could actually compete for a championship? Does he put them over the top, or because of his personality and some of the things that people say about him, do you take a step back?
Or, right now, this is not the best of Jaylen Brunson that we're watching.
No.
He's not big, right? And by the way, he
3 points in the fourth quarter.
But he always owns up to it after a game when he's not happy. There were a number of times last year where he just had an off night and basically put the loss on his shoulders. I just think they're trying to figure it all out and just trying to get a sense of playing with each other, and that's probably one of the reasons why I would think that Tibbs is trying to get them, up to speed. And I don't see panic in him. I don't hear panic from him just yet. But they're certainly going to be on this 10-game run right now where I think, if I had to think about what they need to do in this 10-game run, I think you got to be at least 7-3.
Oh, we going 7-3, huh? 7 out of 10.
I think they got to start.
Or what happens if they don't get to 7-10? You fold up shop. You come back next year.
No, you can't do that. You got to start sharpening the elbows, practicing a little bit harder, pushing the envelope, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What's the consequence?
The consequence is, well, hopefully the coach doesn't get fired. Don't want that.
No.
That to happen.
No. It's way too early for all of this. We understand that. It's going to take some time.
But it was frustrating last night. And Trae Young is like, when he's on, and he's a troll after the game. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing.
And Jerry will play that in the update where he's talking about the Knicks fans that were there down in Atlanta and heading for the exits.
Paying your salary.
Yeah, all of that stuff, yes. And then also the broadcast, the Hawks broadcast last night, they hate the Knicks. But I love that. The Pacers hate the Knicks.
Everybody hates the Knicks. The Sixers hate the Knicks.
Right, everybody hates the Knicks.
I think the Nets hate the Knicks. Although I like the announcers, but I think honestly, if you ask them truly, if you can get them in a corner and say, "Do you hate the Knicks?" Oh yeah, we hate the Knicks.
Well, Carino and Capstra.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Those guys are so nice, though.
I know that, but I'm just saying behind the scenes, with the gritty Nets or the spunky Nets, whatever they are, they have a spunky group of guys that does the game. for them. But they hate the Knicks. They all hate the Knicks. Let's
See, I
face
never Carino and Capstraw I don't look at as spunky. I mean, they're just the ultimate professionals.
Yeah, but for a spunky franchise.
For a spunky franchise.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people, like the Braves hate the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
The Phillies hate the Mets.
Yeah.
Okay, the Red Sox hate the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. Everybody
the
hates
Orioles
the
hate the Yankees.
Yeah.
Everybody hates the Yankees that are not Yankee fans or Yankees themselves.
Right.
I mean, I don't necessarily get that feeling about the Giants. Like nobody really hates the Giants.
I would say that Cowboy fans in New York hate the Giants.
Yeah, but I think they enjoy playing the Giants.
Well, yeah, because they beat them all the time.
That's
of
what
course.
I'm saying. Like, there's no hate there.
Like even in the teams when they won, they were likable. You know?
Like, what about the Jets? You think
people hate the Jets.
Miami hates the Jets.
Well, yeah,
Buffalo hates the Jets. New England hates the Jets.
Remember Darnell Dawkins and what he was saying, or Deion Dawkins, what he was saying about them?
Buffalo Bills tackle. Yes,
right, or just slamming them and how they're frauds and they're all about clicks and not wins. Yeah, people hate the Jets because there's a lot of bluster and not a lot of substance,
not a lot of winning. Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what this team has been more than ever.
Yeah, but the Knicks are that in the NBA. Don't you feel that way?
Oh, look at this.
Oh,
Look at
what
this stat.
are we looking at?
CBS Sports Network, worst record in the NFL since 2017.
Just so you know, I have that stat in front of me. I didn't bring it up, and now all of a sudden you're referring to it just because CBS Sports Network put it up.
Well, yes, because when people are watching on television, that's up there, and then we don't reference it. It's confusing to them. So,
do you like our graphics package, by the way? I think we need more graphics, don't you?
No, I trust the guys there.
I'm not saying I don't trust them. I do trust them, and they follow us pretty well, but I'm a little bit envious of some of the graphics packages, during election night.
You know what that reminded me of?
What did that remind you of?
Our picks record. Everybody under 500.
It kind of looks that way.
Struggling. Jets 39-85, Giants 39-84-1, and the Carolina Panthers 44-80. So the Jets, I mean, that is just.
And you got the Giants and Panthers in Germany.
Look at this. With 2 winners, but Boomer had the best week. A 4-1 week.
That's the best week of the year, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I had a 4-1 week.
Big Daddy's coming back.
But yeah, Big Daddy's still 2 games back. But yes, I had a winning week at 3-2. Jerry now is 5 games off the pace at 16-29. So yeah, nobody had 500 with the pace.
Not yet. All right, we're getting there.
We're grinding because we're grinders.
We're grinders and gritty grinders.
But we're not spunky.
No, hell no, we're not spunky.
No, we're definitely not spunky.
No what?
At some point in our lives, we had some spunk. At this point, we're just grinding.
We're just grinding every single day. We just come in, get the makeup done, and start grinding.
Start grinding away.
Yes, exactly.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Got